Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to rebuild your power steering pump. So the first thing you're going to do is take these retaining nuts off. So now that you have both the bolt screws off, this can is just pressure fit. It's not threaded, so you kind of just gotta rock it and twist it back and forth. Since mine has been on so long, it is probably rusted pretty good. Oh. And that's how you get the can off. So now that we have the case out, we're going to take these 4 bolts off. I believe I have this extended bolt here because it's a AC car. But normally you just have 4 bolts that are all the way down here. So let's go ahead and take those off. Now there's probably going to be fluid in this when you take it apart. As you can see here, there's still an assembly and the actual pump housing, I guess you'd call it. So if you just beat it onto the ground or onto something, it'll pop out and a lot of fluid will come out of it actually. There's the housing. Now when you take these plates off, make sure you set them down somewhere on the way they go. As you can also see, this side is worn more than this side, so I'll know that that side goes down. And only one of these pins comes out. The other one is hard pressed in. If you try to get it out, you will destroy it, so only one pin comes out. Make sure not to push all these out. You want to keep this all together. So your best bet to get your pulley off is to use a press. If you use a pulley puller, it's probably not, you might be able to get it off, but it's going to be really rough. The press is the best way that I've seen and I've done. As you can see, it was a little sketchy at times, but here it is. As you can see, not much wear. Just need to get it cleaned up, get everything else cleaned up now, and get it painted, and then we will start reassembly of this. I clean this up and paint it. There's a gasket right here that I'm going to want to get out. And just like that, it goes flying. So now that we have the gasket out, we can go ahead and take our what's left of our power steering pump off our bracket here and go ahead and clean it up, prime it and paint it, and then we can go ahead and assemble it. So now that we have it all painted, I went ahead and pressed the shaft back in a little, so we put our front O-ring / gasket on. So before you install everything, you're gonna lube it with type F ATF. They did not have power steering fluid back then, I do believe, so that is why they use power steering, or why it uses automatic transmission fluid. It's the same stuff that goes in your automatic, your C4. Go ahead and slide it around, and then they actually forward, if you're lucky enough to have the actual tool to press this in. I do not. So I am using a 7/8 socket. And we are just going to tap it in. So now that it's flush, we can go ahead and take it back over to the press the pulley back on while we still have access to the shaft on the back side. And we are flush with the front of the pulley. So the next thing we can put in is our dowel pin. We can then put our rotor on. One of the holes is slightly oval, and the one directly across from that should be perfectly cylindrical. So there's this slightly oval hole, and right here is the circle one, or cylindrical. So the cylindrical one goes over the dowel pin that did not remove out of the power steering pump. Next piece also has the circle or ovalish hole along with the circle cylindrical hole. Wow, maybe I'll get that right eventually. Then you just keep lining them up. Then the next one. And as you can see, as you start lining them all up, you have this groove that is kind of cut out. So that's how you'll know you'll have it all installed properly. Next, you're going to want to put your gasket on. That came in your gasket kit. Then you're going to want to put your top piece back on. I still have a little marking of where it belongs, so we're just going to put it right back on there. And as you can see, actually you probably can't see, let's take you down. As you can see right there, that's your channel. So you want your channel all lined up. That's how you're going to know how this top piece goes on. So there's the top piece. That channel sets right on there, and you got this nice channel right here. Lastly, we're going to put these springs back on right here. Then there's a gasket that goes around the top lip right here. Don't forget to lube it with ATF. So now that you have your spring gasket on, you can go ahead and install your can back on. Now make sure to remember to lube your can with some ATF. And then your weep hole right here is going to line up with your weep hole that is on the face here. If you're not sure what the weep hole is, it's the only hole that's not a bolt hole on your face. And then ideally, if you're doing this right, there's a jig that covers this hole that keeps you from tearing your O-ring gasket. I do not have that jig, so I'm going to attempt to do it without it. Now that we're on there, go ahead, take your bolts. And if you're like me and have a power steering pump that has AC, which I think this is why this is on it, make sure to remember where this goes. Don't put it in the wrong spot, or your can will not fit over this. So the last thing you need to do is put your little gasket here, and then I have a brass washer that goes right there. And then you're going to want to put your final gasket that goes around the side. Remember to lube it with ATF. Now you can take your can and again put some ATF on the inside and then place it over. Now this is where you can go ahead and put your nuts on, but do not tighten this down by using the nuts. Just get them on there to keep the can straight. Then what you're going to want to do, once you have those snug, I'm using a sock to protect the primer, because I did not paint this yet, because I did not trust myself to not ding up the paint. And then take a steel block or a wooden block that distributes the force you are going to apply, and then just tap it down. Then as you tap it down, just tighten your nuts down. Then once you get it close, you can get the final torque using, or not a torque, but final seal, getting it all the way seated using this nut. And just like that, you've rebuilt your power steering pump. Obviously now I have to paint the power steering pump, but that's quite easy. So I hope this helps you rebuild your power steering pump. I'll link the rebuild kit that I used and another video that I referenced on how to do this, because this is my first time, and hopefully it won't leak. If it leaks, I'll let you know right after this outro. So thanks for watching. I hope this helped you rebuild your power steering pump, and I hope to see you guys here next time. Have a good one.